Alrighty, boys. Today's the day. Finally, today is the day. I'm so hyped because I've actually been talking about this day for years, dude. Because, boys, we are going to be checking out an absolute freshie today from the showroom floor. An absolute freshie. Speaking of freshie, I ain't gonna lie, my KLX is looking mad fresh right now. But unfortunately, we're trading her in today because she's probably worth more at a dealership than my Honda is. Speaking of my Honda, she is also for sale, but to be honest, I do not want to talk about it, so I'm not gonna, or at least not right now. But anyways, thanks to Pete's Cycling Sled, we got this engine case completely freshened up, so she's all good for the next owner. And now, rain, snow, sleet, or hail, we are bringing this KLX to the dealership, okay? But wait, I hear you asking, how did you get to this point?
Till the week, what we do, buck 'em down, world life, each and every individual insight.
I grew up loving cars, so naturally street bikes and eventually watching motovloggers was my next best step. Naturally, being a kid, that's a little boring unless you had spice to it, so next I wanted to be a stunt rider. And that's when I first saw it. I don't care what you think of street riders, these guys absolutely rip on their 125s. Hearing the weird sound of the thing just revving out and knowing that it was a 125, which in my mind meant that it was really small, I couldn't help but want one. And then I got my first dirt bike, and I started riding dirt because I wasn't about to ride street. But I still saw the YZ125 everywhere, and guess what? I still wanted it. And since then, I've been telling myself and everyone else around me that I've wanted a YZ125. It's the only bike I've ever really said, yeah, I want that, I need that. And to be honest, it's my only dream bike, right now. And finally, I was starting to grow out on my KLX, suspension was bottoming out a lot, it seemed like it was about the right time to get myself a YZ125. So, I bought a bike. This is it. Looking back, buying this bike was kind of stupid, but I'll go through my thought process at the time because it makes me sound a little bit smarter. I picked it up in late November with plans to ride it at least one time at a motocross track and a couple times at the local trails before they shut down. But that didn't happen, did it? Because the previous owner blew the fork seals on it and did not tell me until I already bought it, so that's nice. The bike was in the shop for a few weeks, so I didn't get to ride it at all until February. Now, the very observative viewers would have noticed that I did not post this video on my channel. And the reason why is because I didn't actually put on my GoPro ever. I did 2 motos on this bike, and both of them were so incredibly frustrating and difficult that I did not have any will to put on a camera for it. To be honest, I kind of felt like I was downgrading size-wise when I went from my 140 to the 85, even though the power was more. And finally, the power. This thing is snappy. Hey, and don't get it twisted. I'm not saying my 85 is too fast. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's snappy, okay? And sure, I would have and will get used to the power on this thing, but either way, I didn't really like the bike, so okay? Just moving on. But I did end up doing the wheel bearings on this bike to get it completely fresh, because I hadn't really given up yet. That was until I walked into a dealership and sat on a big bike, and wait a minute, I fit on a big bike, why am I on an 85?
Insight, let my man Jewel peep the style for your card. Then I can converse and take a look.
Like all good things, I started on Marketplace, especially because I was selling my bike there too, so it just made sense. But holy, dealing with people on Marketplace can be so annoying. That, plus the fact that I wanted to get rid of at least one of my bikes pretty quickly, meaning that I would lose money anyways, led me to start looking at dealerships. And I know dealership, blah blah blah, I probably said in one of my last videos that I would never go to a dealership again. I'll never really take my bike to a dealership again, but hey, I said for fixing a bike, not for buying one. So I bought one. Pouring right now outside of a Five Guys when we got the bike, boys. I'm actually so hyped on this thing. This thing is sick. And to be honest, they gave me a half decent price for my KLX, so I couldn't refuse the offer. So boys, introducing my brand new to me 2022 Yamaha YZ125. And y'all, I've done a lot of talking in this video, so I'll go through it in a second. But first, just listen to this thing, okay? First kick.
Walk with the shot that I bang with, hang with, gang hanger with the double-edged banger.
So, like I said, 2022 Yamaha YZ125, and dude, I am hyped on this thing. I'll give you a little bit of a walk around here just so you can see this thing's beauty, okay? As you can see, 2022 model, so it's the facelifted version with all like the airbox changes, suspension changes, blah blah blah. As you can see, only 19 hours on the thing, so she's pretty fresh. She's still probably on her first top end, but I can probably get another 15-20 hours on it. You can fight me on that, but I'm gonna make it work, okay? The previous owner did race it, however, so I'm sure it isn't a light 19 hours, but hey, you know, we'll take what we can get. As you can see, the side covers have a little bit of wear and tear, but that's normal. The pipe is dented in a little bit, but I'm not going to notice the performance difference anyways, and I'll get a new pipe down the line, so it's not a big deal. From afar, the plastics and graphics on this thing are pretty good looking, but as you get closer, you can notice that they're kind of poorly installed, and the plastics are pretty caked with mud in some places. But I'll drop this thing a bunch more anyways, so I'll get new plastics down the line as well. I did ride around my backyard a little bit more, and I have some first impressions, so may as well share those as well. First of all, the power. It has a lot more low end than my 85, which is nice, and it also feels a little bit smoother getting into the power band. It's not as much of like a jerky feeling like the 85 is. I can't really say too much without riding it on a track, so I don't want to get my hopes too far up, but so far it feels pretty good. On top of that, the brakes. This is the newest bike I've ever owned, so it makes sense, but the brakes on this thing are nice, which is also a nice benefit. I mean, overall, I'm just hyped to ride this thing. I don't really plan to do too much with it. I'm sure I'll do some stuff down the line, but I want this to kind of be like my mountain bike, to where I can just learn on it and upgrade it as I go with no plans of selling it in the near future. But man, does she look good just sitting in the garage. I've been walking down here every night and just staring at her for a while. So anyways, I know I did a lot of talking in this video, but next time, hopefully I mean it this time, I'll actually be riding this bicycle somewhere, at some place, at some time. And yeah, I'm hyped for it, so hope you are too.